I'm Mark Levin, and this is Life, Liberty, and Levin Saturday with two great guests this evening. We have Representative Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and Attorney Extraordinary John Yoo. But before we go there, the Democrat Party has really revealed itself, hasn't it? It supports every inch of the bureaucracy and every penny of fraud, waste, and abuse. That's their position. They've contributed nothing to this debate. They propose nothing to be cut. They are not doing anything in a bipartisan fashion. They're singing songs, union songs from the 1930s. They're showing up at bureaucratic facilities, acting like a bunch of drug-addled homeless people. I don't know. I guess they think that works, but here's the truth. The truth is, for them, it's not waste, fraud, and abuse. I want you to listen very carefully to me. It's not the administrative state. It's not the swamp. Listen, for them, this is a government within a government. They've created this edifice, this subterranean government within a government, and they intend to defend it. This money that's being spent that we see as waste, fraud, and abuse, they see as a lifeline to their ideology, to their power. And they spent 80 years building it, and they have no intention of giving it up easily, and neither do their media or the rest of their surrogates. It is a subterranean government within a government. It's even below the massive bureaucracy, and it works in secret, and it's immune, and they've created their own laws to protect it and to promulgate it, and they have their favorite judges who are there to protect it and defend it. There was a great French politician and philosopher. His name was Frederick Bastiat. I want you to listen to this one sentence. Listen. When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men in a society, this is the ruling class in Washington, D.C. Over the course of time, they create for themselves a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it. You know, you watch liberals on cable and elsewhere, they say, look at Donald Trump. He wants to cut this food program, that food program. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the first tier of the bureaucracy. Donald Trump's not cutting that. He's cutting that secret tier, the government within the government. They keep flashing around the other tier. No. It's the government within the government. That's what we're talking about, the subterranean government. Here we have a GAO report, the Government Accountability Office. Stay with me on this. This came out just a few months ago. And they put out this report. And Congress had it, and the president had it, and the media had it, and most of you never heard about it. Listen to this. Fraud, risk, management, 2018 to 2022, that period of time. The data show federal government loses an estimated $233 billion to $521 billion every single year. That's $250 billion to $500 billion every single year, they say, to fraud based on various risk environments. Listen to me. We've got to get our calculus right, our brains right on this. For the Democrats and the left, for the self-perpetuating bureaucracy, this isn't fraud. This isn't waste and it's abuse. It's routine. This is how they want to operate. This is their money. And by the way, to push their ideological agenda. That's what it's for. So for them, it's not fraud, waste, and abuse. For them, it's a lifeline. But $250 billion to $500 billion in this secret government activity. Here, the Daily Caller from this past September. If current trends persist, this is past September, the Biden-Harris administration will have made over $1 trillion in improper payments by the time Biden leaves office, according to a report released by Open the Books. An improper payment is a disbursement made by the government to the wrong person, in the wrong amount, or for the wrong reason per federal guidelines. The Biden-Harris administration between 2021 and 2023 oversaw over $800 billion, nearly $1 trillion in such payments, after adjusting for inflation, according to the Open the Books organization. But again, they don't care. This is an immune government within a government that has hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars over time to lord over you, to control you, to push their wokeism, to push their ideology, to affect foreign policy. They're everywhere. They're ubiquitous. And now Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and his crew, they have found it. They have found it. They have uncovered it, whether it's at USAID or any of these other departments, whether it's at Treasury, whether it's at the Social Security Administration. It is massive. It's under the radar. This is why there aren't hearings. This is why GAO puts out these reports and nobody cares. This is why an organization says, wait a minute, they're wasting $1 trillion. It's not waste to them. It's necessary to them. Look at this. Elon Musk and the crew. In 2 weeks' time, $50 to $100 billion, reports Rick Manning on Town Hall, each year. That is how much has already been identified by the White House's Department of Government Efficiency through a review of Treasury payments as likely fraud. This amount is nothing more than identifying how much is paid monthly to recipients who don't have a Social Security number or other government identification attached to their files. Doge head Elon Musk has already estimated, based upon work done to date, there's approximately $1 trillion in fraud, waste, and abuse, just like that watchdog group, in the system that can be identified and prevented. It took 2 weeks of analyzing government payment systems to make this incredible announcement. All right, let's talk about the Constitution, because we're told that those who are digging into this, finding out what's taking place, banging the pots and pans, trying to address it, trying to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse, they've created a constitutional crisis, don't you know? Article 1 is Congress, Article 2 is the President and the Executive, Article 3 is the Judiciary, which only creates the Supreme Court. Congress creates the rest of the courts with a signature by the President. The massive bureaucracy, I dare you to find it in our Constitution. It doesn't exist. The fourth branch of government, not a single one of these cabinet departments, not a single federal employee, none of it. It's all a creation of Congress. Judicial review, look at these courts, they're all over the place. Where is that in the Constitution? Nowhere. There's no judicial review for federal district courts. There's no federal district courts. Well, where did we get judicial review from? It's an implied power. Somebody's got to make decisions. So it was decided by the Supreme Court that the Supreme Court will make those decisions in a case called Marbury versus Madison. So in all of this, in the Constitution, we have Congress and we have a president. The president's in charge of the executive branch. Or is he? Congress appropriates funds, but that power has limits. You wouldn't believe it if you listen to the propaganda. Yeah, there are certain limits on Congress's power to appropriate. The judiciary. Does the judiciary have the power to run the federal government, the various agencies, HR, and all the rest? No, it does not. It's called separation of powers. Congress has a lane. The judiciary has a lane. The executive has a lane. The executive branch. Who is the executive branch? What is it? It's the President of the United States. He and his vice president. They're the only people elected by the entire body politic through the Electoral College. Judges are unelected. Members of Congress from their districts or from their states. He's it. And they said, you know what, this executive branch belongs to the President of the United States. Really? Well, we're being told today that he can't act without congressional approval. He can't act without the courts giving their approval. Wait a minute. I thought we had separation of powers. Wait a minute. Where did this bureaucracy come from? Doesn't the president, as the chief executive, have some power over personnel? Doesn't he have the power to offer severance? Doesn't he have a power to look at data in a department? Doesn't he have the power to conduct audits, to conduct reviews? Doesn't he have the power to set policy with respect to the executive branch? No. According to the Democrats, according to these activist judges, these left-wing judges, no, he doesn't have any power. He just has to sit and watch. Except if he wants to expand the power of the bureaucracy, if he wants to increase spending, whether the courts say yes or no, whether Congress says yes or no, it doesn't matter. We have to continue to fund what? The subterranean government. And we have to continue to subsidize